This is Scott the Fix It Guy. Today we have a laundry center, washer and dryer stacked, and the washing machine part, the spin basket, is all off kilter. So we're going to give it an inspection and see if we can fix it. So we're going to remove the two Phillips head screws from the panel in between the washer and dryer. Zip those off. At this point, we want to unplug it or turn off the breaker, have no power going to the unit for safety. All right, so we are going to pull off this panel and get it out of the way. And then we have a couple more panels to remove. This upper panel with the lid has two screws in the back, 1/4-inch screws. So we're going to take those out. I'm going to use a ratchet. And they're located in the upper, or the back left hand and back right hand corner. So I have a ratchet with an extension. I zip those off. Here's a close-up of where the ratchet's connected. All right, get that one out, and then we'll do the one in the back right-hand corner. So these spin baskets, they tend to get knocked off kilter when there's too heavy of a load, like blankets or bathroom mats. It just knocks off the suspension underneath. Okay, got that one out. We're going to slide. We get that one screw fully out. We'll slide the front panel toward us slightly and lift. We'll disconnect this electrical connector. It's just modular. Pull that whole panel out of the way. And then there's a couple of screws we have to take off on the front panel. Upper left hand, upper right hand corner. Just going to use a ratchet to get in there a little bit easier. I think these are 7/16 screws. And once you get out the screws, you want to grab the front panel and lift up. There's some clips on the bottom, and just lift up to disengage those clips. All right, so we get that panel out of the way. We can see there's a lot of damage to this washer. This front shock has come totally disconnected from the frame. Not supposed to happen. So the end of this shock strut is threaded. It's supposed to thread right into the frame, and this one's been ripped clean out. I also noticed that the back right-hand spring is disconnected, and the suspension spring in the back is disconnected. So they were washing something really heavy. So what I've done now is I lean the machine back, and here's the bottom of that stud from the shock, and I'm going to put a nut on there. The nut is usually not there, but the threads in the frame are stripped. So I'm going to put this 3/4-inch nut on with a ratchet and get it on really tight to the bottom of that support strut. So this is not designed this way. This is just something we're adding on because the threads are stripped from the frame. I'm going to add one of these also, because I have two of them, onto one of these back struts also. And the next thing I have to do is it has 3 of these struts holding it up. The one in the back right has totally come off the spring. So I basically have to grab the top of it and thread it back onto the spring. So once I get it on top of the spring, I'll grab the spring and I'll turn it counterclockwise so it feeds itself onto the threads of the top plastic piece. I'm going to keep turning it until I can get the spring way up onto the plastic. You might notice there's a little screw there too. So these screws were put in. Once I get the spring into position, I put a screw into the plastic, a self-tapping screw to hold that spring into position. So I have a pair of vice grips now. I'm going to use it to grab the bottom of this little spring in the back. I'm going to pull down and get that little spring to lock in to a hole in the frame. It just popped off. Here's what the spring looks like. So I got locked into I'm going to put it into the top first and then pull it down with the vice grips. So here's it locking at the top. Pull it down with the vice grips and then lock it in at the bottom. We'll have all the springs back into position and the suspension should work great. So I'm just going to grab that with vice grips, pull it down, and lock it. So thanks so much for watching, and please subscribe when you get a chance.